Good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween. Let's go combine. Hey, what's that? Is that one of those red-wheeled John Deeres that's exclusively sold in Europe? It's a lot better than the actual John Deere. It looks sweet. Obviously it is. Oh, just look at it. Okay, explaining a little bit what's going on here. I put the 8400R on the wagons so I could go a little faster down the road. My dad is trying to help out a little bit. He did bring me a couple wagons yesterday, just cycled them, and he had Gary help unload. I have the cart and then these pair on the 8400R. So what I've been doing, because I'm primarily a one-man band, is I fill these up, then I've been filling the cart, then I shut the combine down, I haul these off, come back, unload the cart onto these, haul that off, and start the process over again. That gives me about 26 to 2,800 bushels every time, and yes, it's a very slow process. If I get 30 acres a day done, I'm starting at 7 o'clock in the morning and going till a little after midnight. But I'm getting it, slowly but surely. I often get asked, why don't we just get rid of the wagons and use a truck? Well, I've already addressed this in a video, but you see two things around Iowa anymore. You see big wagons and you see semis. We do not use a semi because we do not feel that you can haul as much, and it's no faster. Most of our fields are within reasonable proximity to our farmstead where the bins are at. I think our farthest farm, which is what we're at right now, is about 7 to 7.25 miles. That would be on road, not as the crow flies. And the truck is going to haul about 900 to maybe, if you got a triple axle, 1,100 bushels. As I've made comment in my video of the wagons, I have done algorithms where I've kept track of per hour production rates with the manpower that we have available on our particular farm. And we produce about 1,300 bushels per hour. So 1,300 bushels per hour, we have a 1,300 bushel cart and 1,300 bushels of wagons. That keeps us in unison. Furthermore, one time we did have a semi with a trailer, and we were hauling out of a farm that was about 3 miles from the local grain elevator. The neighbor was just down the road about a quarter mile from our farm. He was also hauling the grain elevator, but he was using a tractor and wagons. So I pulled out of our driveway, pulled up behind him, passed him, went into town, and as soon as I pulled on the scales, they were circling in right behind me. That's because with a couple of stop signs and a few other things, you're not going to average much more than about 30 miles an hour with a truck on a 5-mile haul. Check your times. It's not possible. Acceleration rates, stopping rates, etc. This tractor has capabilities of going 35 miles an hour on the empty, which we do. And then loaded, I usually pulled about 22 miles an hour with this particular set of wagons. I would go faster if I had two better wagons. But we can haul 1,300 bushels. Actually, it's about 1360 is what we've been getting on here. And we have no fear of the DOT. We drive right by them. They don't even look at us. And they do look at trucks. They continuously pull them over. It seems to be on a regular basis. We don't have any licensing going on, so it's quite enjoyable. Additionally, we can get in and out of tight field driveways and small patches. In Southwest Iowa here, we have a lot of little farms. We have little things that are 3-acre pieces, things across waterways. With a semi, you're limited to roads or selected areas to get in and out of. With the wagons, we can go about anywhere. So that's why we use the wagons. Now, I am looking at a hopper bottom and do plan on trying to get one. That will be to haul from our bins to delivery sites, such as your ethanol plants, your soybean processing plants, elevator, whoever's got the highest bid. Those are up to 1-hour hauls. But I will still not be using that hopper bottom to haul in the fall. Last, the wagons are much easier to unload into an auger with. The wagons you can pull right up to your auger. You gotta shoot quick and easy. Some of the bin locations and one of the bins we rent are not very easy to get into, next to impossible with a semi. The wagons bend like an S, they're short coupled, much handier. So hopefully that answers that question. How the Yield 360 brooms are doing. They are starting to show wear. I can get my finger back through here easier, but they're still connecting, and you know, I think even if they wear back into this area, they'll still be okay. I'm not real impressed with the amount of wear on them, but I am very impressed with how they work. I am still verdict out as to whether they'll pay themselves off or not. Yeah, I got a little bit of a drive back here to the grain cart, so I figure you guys can just listen to me talk. Still the one-man band here. I'm trying to open up a few things around the terraces and stuff, and just like I go clear out around. It's a long, winding farm here, so I'm slow to get this opened up. But then once I get work down, I can get where I can come together and I can come out each way. It'll taper out pretty quick. Anyway, I got some mixed commentary back off of yesterday's video talking about the illegal aliens, because that seems to be a very hot topic right now with what Trump's wanting to do. And when I started doing these videos, I figured you guys could follow me, and I watch several other farming channels on YouTube. Minnesota Millennial Farmer, he does not get into the politics, but he does a very good job of just making farm videos. One Lonely Farmer, I really like his channel and his Ag Talk in the Raw. But you're going to hear his opinion. I'm trying to kind of bring a mix to that and make it how I feel my channel should grow. So those of you who support me, thank you. Glad to hear if there's others that agree with what I have to say. The bottom line is, as a farmer, contractor, and truck driver, is I am subjected to multiple regulatory agencies at all times. Basically, things just completely rammed down your throat. My age would be the Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, and now Trump era. So those are the presidents that have had the biggest impact on my time, you know, out here working. And out of all of them, they're all failures. I haven't seen a single one. Probably Trump's the best out of all of them, but I really haven't seen a single one that's done anything for my business. And if you watch me daily, you'll notice I talk about things such as corporations, government, regulatory agencies, all the above. And you'll know where I stand on viewpoint on all these. The reason I stand on those as my viewpoints is because, as what I do for a business, I get to see how these laws and things that they enact are brought down on people. I get to be the collateral damage, so to speak. And right now what's occurring is we're farming, and as a farmer, well, I am part of the collateral damage of Trump's trade war. And while I think that something needed to be done about China, we cannot have twice the amount of money going to them that we get back. That's going to break our country. They're going to own us. But I do not agree with his approach. I think that he could have found other ways of punishing companies, or possible... I mean, if you're going to give up and tell another country how to manufacture something, I would say a little bit of what they've done borders on treason. But I imagine that Bill Clinton, during his free trade merger mania bullcrap era, probably encouraged and signed a lot of things in the law, so there's really nothing that could be done about this. Now, the Trump trade war probably impacts farmers most of all, and I really don't see it ending very soon. So do I support it? I understand why, but as being part of the collateral damage out here producing something that was a good product and good food for the people here in the United States, seeing that it's now worth nothing and we're doing it for below the cost of production, doesn't leave me with a very good impression of the guy. I think he didn't handle it very well. And then they were going to do the Trump bailout, the $1.60 for soybeans, and it became a public appeaser. This is what I touched on in yesterday's video. That is not going to amount to anything, and it wasn't us as farmers that put the tariff on there that cut our commodity prices by $1.60. It was his tariffs. So a lot of people say, oh, you're just getting farm welfare. Well, you like cheap food. So everybody wants cheap food in this country. They don't seem to care if the farmers can make any money or not. And believe me, nobody's really making any money right now. We do it because we have a passion for it. I'd actually watched a little video one time, and I think it got chased over to the deep web. But it was an executive order that Obama had put forth for California. The reason he put it forth is because naturally, mankind has went out there to a desert and established life. That area was never designed by Mother Nature to support what it is now. So while they may get rains, ultimately the California drought continues. That's a large produce raising area. And as a large produce raising area, he signed an executive order that basically said that if we get into a bad drought, so these droughts continue to happen and they cannot produce produce, then they'll start to regulate food and they can declare martial law. Well, that's one of the things that keeps Americans happy, is because we are well fed and we can feed ourselves very easily. If you can't afford food, then you can get a government card and just quickly and easily get food. If you're starving to death and there's a little house out there in the country, and wow, they got a real nice garden, and there's a fresh pie in the window, like the old cartoon, you're probably going to steal food. If you have no money, no way of getting any food, and you could not beg, borrow, or anything else, there's a lot of people that are probably going to steal food. So food keeps people calm and happy. So of course it makes sense to protect the farmers. Produce lots and lots of food. World War II is the same way. They did not draft farmers because they wanted them to produce food for the war. And by the way, I'm going down the other end of this field so I can work my way back. So, as a farmer, we're getting this collateral damage right now because of this Trump trade war, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. The Chinese have said that they can get beans here like $2.60 cheaper than they can out of Argentina, but they're buying Argentina soybeans because they're just ticked off the United States for putting those sanctions on, or tariffs on. Eventually we might win, and I'm glad to see that Trump did something to it to start it. But this has a big reminder of the 1980s when idiot Jimmy Carter went in and he cut off everything to Russia. Well, we're going to punish them, communists. And all he did was kill the farm prices, created the 1980s farm crisis, which is similar to what's occurring now. Created the farm crisis. And you know what happened? The only reason that it ever started getting to be rectified is because the banks started going broke. That's when you started seeing the government programs and things coming out. It was the banks. It was not the farmers. They could care less. Somebody else still out here to produce grain. And I'm sure that there's farmers out here right now. We're all band together. That's a lie. No farmers band together. They all are out there to screw each other over. And if the idea of holding back a certain amount of acres to try to make yields be better, somebody else can plant more acres because he knows the price is going to be better. You know, oh well, my neighbor didn't plant a little bit. He's holding back. He's going to help get the prices up. Well, hell, that makes me more money. I'm going to go plant more. So as long as that mentality exists, and as long as there's competition for only a few dollars profit margins, it's going to remain low prices, especially when you can't sell your commodities. And as the $4 billion being chucked at this new deal here to explore new markets, you got better damn minds. I mean, explore new markets. I mean, what were they doing before? And who is this group of guys that's going to go out there and mysteriously expand all these new markets? And why do they need to have $4 billion to do so? The farmers themselves are only going to get $1 billion. And now I think they're going to cut that down to almost nothing. Pathetic. Anyway, moving on to the illegals, which is what I think kind of sparked some little bit of frustration throughout the channel here. I do not support them. I do not want them here. I do not like them. I do not like catering to them. I think it's totally wrong to speak Spanish in schools and teach our kids Spanish. It's just disgusting. They're here illegally. They drop a baby. It's a naturally born citizen. That's a load of crap. They need to kick them out of here. But Trump is wanting to go in and use executive orders to change the Constitution, or maybe it's change the amendments. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think that that's the right thing to do either. He should not do that. Why isn't he going after the regulatory agency that God knows what the hell president set up, ICE? They're not doing their job. I mean, they're absolutely not doing their job. Our local town cop at one time they had some illegal aliens in there, and he didn't like them. He ended up arresting them and found a reason to arrest them. He ended up hauling him to basically like an ICE location, and they didn't want him. He had to basically fight them to get them to take these guys and deport them. There's like 20 of them. Now that's just somebody not doing their job. And as I said, these presidents that have affected my life, there's not a damn one of them that has ever done anything about immigration. They don't want to do anything about immigration. In fact, I know that they want, and Bush got caught on this in a speech he did in the middle of like Saudi Arabia not too long ago. Got caught saying that they wanted cheap labor here. Maybe if your congressman had term limits, it would, solve some of this problem, because they're going to vote how it keeps them in office. They're not going to vote for issues that might be controversial. It could cost them their career politician status. So, while I understand why a lot of people want the wall, I also understand how we got to this problem. You have way too much hand me out, give me freebies that anybody can get, and it encourages people not to work. So pretty soon, people are going on welfare. I got some rows coming together here. This is going to be an issue. I'm diving into my point rows. I'm going to have to go up around and come in the other end. But anyway, everybody in this country can get welfare way too easy. So they don't work. You got a generation of lazy people, and you got some jobs that aren't that desirable out there. And nobody wants to do them. The Mexicans come in there, well, I'll do it. This is a better life than I had in Mexico. Boom, hired. So why is Trump not doing anything about the regulatory agency? Cut their funding off. He is not doing anything about these CEOs, these packing plants. I know there's a couple packing plants right here in Iowa. I know there's Mexican staff. I know there's all sorts of Mexican staff in these places around these areas. Why are the people that hired these guys getting away with it? Trump isn't doing anything about that. but he's wanting to do an executive order on these kids. So while like I say again, I don't like him here, I don't want him here, but I think that the way he's handling it is similar to the way that he's handled the deal with China. He sees a problem, he tries to do something about it, and it's kind of like a sledgehammer in a fine china shop. It's just a bunch of broken particles, and the guy at the china shop having to deal with the cleanup. He lacks tact, and that's where I start to run into clashing with Trump. And when you lack tact, you have fallout or collateral damage, which is what's going on right now to things like farming. So maybe it's because he only gets 4 years in office that he approaches things this way, because you only got a select amount of time there, so you kind of got to go out of full steam. But maybe that's where a 6-year term with no re-election would be better than wasting 4, focusing on sole re-election the first 4, and then the last 4 throwing your agenda forth and making a mess for the next guy, like Obama did. So to recap, while I support some of the things that Trump does, I don't support others. And obviously any politician's going to be that way. You're not going to agree 100% across the board with him. I'm glad to see he's doing something with it, but I don't like the way he's handling it. I think he could use a much better approach and have a lot better long-lasting outcome. I personally am a constitutionalist and a libertarian, and I like to see that the Constitution and amendments and things are not infringed upon. So with that being said, there are other ways of rectifying the problem. I do not like to see my tax dollar money wasted. As I said in yesterday's video, or last night in that clip, I think that the wall is going to be too expensive and cause a lot of tax dollar problems. And they're still going to find ways to get here. They're going to go out in the ocean. They're moving drugs in these little tiny submarines and stuff. It's not ever going to stop the problem 100%. What would stop the problem, though, is not being able to hire these guys and maybe prosecuting the people that do. CanIHireThisGuy.com, something that dumb and simple. Plug in the guy's name, social security number, and address, find out if he's legit or not. And maybe even have to take his picture when he comes in there. And if they don't want to single these illegals out, then do it for everybody, I guess. But you ever had a stray cat come to your house and you go, I don't want you here, and you don't put any food out, no water out, no shelter, pretty soon the animal leaves. That's what they'd do. They'd leave. No jobs, no housing, nothing. They'd leave. But as long as we got the ability to get these suckers to drop a kid, then they'll start voting for lifetime politicians. Nothing's going to change. So there's my thoughts on it. Hopefully it clarifies a few things of yesterday's video. And yes, that is real. And yes, correct. We are in southwest Iowa, about 25 miles north of the Missouri border, or right north of the Mason-Dixon line. And we do get good dry down on corn down here. It's pretty rare that we actually have to use dryers, unlike the guys up north where it just does not dry down. And yes, those yields are hanging right in there. The corn's tremendous. On these long rows, I can't make it very far. So I'm very, very happy with what I'm seeing. Look at that. Grain tank 3/4 full. I'm not even going to be able to get halfway through this farm. I'm going to be full. I'm going to tunnel my way back out. That's just with an 8-row head. What we do with a big 410 bushel hopper. Well, as I make my way to the grain car here once again, all I seem to get done is hauling corn as a combine because it's yielding like crazy, which is a good problem to have, especially right now when it's not worth anything. I wanted to take a little time here once again in the video before I concluded it to talk about the Trump wall. And since immigration is a big hot topic right now, what is that wall going to cost? I think that things when the government gets involved, I've seen this happen before. Let's build this, just like our local town. Let's build a new jail. Oh, we can't just have a new jail. We gotta have a new cop car. We gotta have new radios. We gotta have new this. Gotta have new that. Pretty soon the budget's out of control, and then your taxes go up, and it just keeps happening over and over. And that's the libertarian side of me saying don't spend the money. My idea for a website, or actually using the regulatory agency like ICE that's supposed to be doing their job now and clearly isn't, that was to save money. That should be sufficient to eliminate the problem. Again, I do not want illegals here. I think it's a complete disaster that we cater to them and give them all the stuff that we do. But on the flip side of that, you build this wall, I imagine it's going to cost tons of money. They're going to have to maintain it. They're going to have to patrol it. That means they're going to want new cars. They're going to want new radios. They're going to want new this, new that. Shift rotation. This is going to cost millions and millions of dollars, if not into the billion range. So now we've just created possibly another level of police presence and whatever else. And Trump actually has come out to say that he supports a lot of the cops and things they do. And while I think you need some law enforcement, I think that a lot of it's very overpaid. And they talk about being in a dangerous position. What a crock of shit. I mean, a farmer out there around open power shafts, spinning things, we're probably working in more dangerous conditions than they are. But regardless, I think the wall's going to cost way too much. Yes, it will stop a lot of traffic across there, but it won't stop 100%, because if we're going to build a wall in Mexico, look at Florida. There's all sorts of Cubans down there in Florida. Are we going to build a wall out in the ocean too to stop the Cubans from coming in? I think the Coast Guard does a fair job of doing that, but you know, it's just a prime example of the fact that you're not going to be able to stop 100% of everything. I'm shooting this video in 2 clips, so refer to the clip I was talking about earlier about, you know, they'll go away if you just don't have any place for them here. Cheaper alternative option. Additionally, people like their cheap food. Packing plants are primarily all full of Mexicans, because it's too easy for the American white worker just to get welfare. Well, I don't want to work in a packing plant. Well, that's a degrading job. I'll just go ahead and collect welfare because it's a career choice now. It's too easy to get. So then we've created an entire society that doesn't want to work. So the Mexican comes in here. Oh, wow, that's a nice job. A lot better than in Mexico. Okay, I'll do it. So all of a sudden, boom, you close all these places down. Are we not going to prosecute the CEOs or whatever these places that hired these guys? Probably not. Because some of those places are big food conglomerates and they pay big time campaign contributions. So we shut these deals down. Okay, now you have no workers there. How are you going to hire workers? Because all the white guys and all the, you know, blacks and everybody else, all the low-lifers or whatever, you know, they're not going to work. They're not going to do it. The good guys that have good work ethics, there's not enough of us left anymore to fill in all those extra jobs. So I don't want the Mexicans working there. I don't know in the very short term who the hell would ever work at these places. And if they don't have workers, isn't food going to go skyrocketing high if you start shutting down borderline 2/3 of the packing plants in the United States for a temporary labor shortage? And I don't disagree that they ought to be kicked out, but at the same time, I don't know what to do. Maybe you guys can comment on that. What would you do with the shortage? I mean, oh wow, beef just went from $3.20 for a little tube of hamburger here. Now all of a sudden it's $17 for a little pound of hamburger because they're in there and the packing plants are temporarily shut down until they get new workers and staff trained. And that sounds like I'm an advocate there for the illegals, which I'm not. But it is a problem that needs to be addressed. So those are factors that ought to be looked at. It's not a whole lot different than just like this big pipeline they're wanting to put across the United States, which there's multiples of those. And they're piping oil out of Canada, and they're not wanting the Keystone pipelines I'm referring to, but they're piping oil out of Canada. It's going right out, right down the, right out the Gulf. It's not staying here in the United States for our use. So we got, the only thing that's making any money is the contractors on a very temporary basis for a short term. They'll have some jobs that they can do, get this thing installed, and then after that, they're out of work again. many things in America like that. So, I understand what Trump's going for. Again, I just don't think he's taking the right approach with it. When I think that other politicians have let it go, yes, but the bottom line is, why is nobody out there making these regulatory agencies actually do their job? If they're not going to do their job, then you get rid of them. My business, if I have employees that don't do their job or don't deliver, then I can't have them there because I have to make money. That's called private industry. But apparently government industry, no, there's just plenty of money. Nobody worry about actually having to do anything. So, I think that'll conclude my rant on it, and how I would handle it, and how I feel about it. Love that Fendt. God, that thing's nice. I'll have to do a complete overview of that tractor versus the other one, after harvest gets wound down here. So, a lot more videos coming. Wanted to clarify a little bit on yesterday's video because obviously it pushed some buttons on some people. But thank you to those that supported me. Thank you to everybody for watching, and a lot more coming.